In the previous lecture, we created a random number generator. This will happen when we press a button, it creates an int and then picks a random number from the number that we've selected. Now we're going to be creating a random word generator in this lecture, and it kind of works the same. It's going to have an int and it's going to randomly pick a number from the number we selected, whether that's 10 or 100, but the difference is once it picks that number, how does it then display a word? Well, what it's going to do is then pick a number and then pick a random case and then pick our manually inserted word. So it's a little bit different, a little bit more confusing from explaining it, but once we come to coding it, it's pretty clear what's going on. So what we need to do to make this work is just like our random number generator, we need a button. I'm going to drag and drop that in. And our label. Space it out and then center it, and I'll simply name the text on our button to something more pleasing, like give me a random word. There we go. And then we need to create our action and outlet for both of these objects. So within our assistant editor, bring up our viewcontroller.h and drag and drop our label in. And I'll simply name it label. And our action for our button, which will be simply random word, nice and easy, and add that in. Okay, so we've got both of those in. We're going to close our assistant editor and jump straight into our viewcontroller.m. So I'm going to space out our action here, and just like how we created our random number generator, it's very similar to how we do it. So we start by creating our int, and I'll name this random word. And it's going to equal our random function, our arc for random, to a percentage sign and then a number. Now with our random generator, we had it set to 100, meaning it will pick a random number between 0 to 100. Now that's quite a lot for a random word generator, so we're only going to start with 5, and then that with a semicolon. Now you may be thinking, yes, it's going to pick a random number between 1 to 5, but isn't this a random word generator? Well, you're correct, but what we're going to do is create a switch statement. Now this switch statement, if we equal it to our random word int, is going to then have cases. Now our cases start with case 0, then it has a statement. And if I write within our statement here to have self.label.text to equal @symbol, 2 quotation marks, and then a semicolon, to let's go with colors to equal red. So when our random generator works, if the outcome of the 0 to 5 happens to be 0, it will then perform our 0 case. Now the break here is to what kind of tells us that that's ended our case and move on to our next one. So we're pasting 5 all together and rename these. So we start at 0, 2, 3, 4, and we need a 5th one. Oh, we've got 5 in, sorry. So we start at 0, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though it goes up to the number 4, we have 5 altogether as we start at the number 0. So when it picks again, if I explain it once more, when it press our button, we're going to create our int. Our int's going to equal a random number between 0 to 5. Then whatever one it picks, let's say it picks number 3, it's then going to jump to number 3 on our list here, and then perform this task, which is self.label equals the letter red. Now as we got 5 in there, we do actually need another one to make sure we can equal the number 5. There we go. Okay, so we're going to change each of these outcomes here. So the case 0 is going to equal red. Our case 1, let's say, equals yellow. Our case 2 equals blue. Our case 3 equals green. Our case 4 equals, let's say, black. And finally, our case 5 equals white. Okay, so again, if it picks number 3 in our random numbers, it will then jump straight to number case 3 and display green within our label. And each case needs to end with a break, as that closes it up to tell us that's the end of that case there. We can now move on to our next one. And then we finish it off with our default, which kind of finishes it all, then our break to finish up the whole case switch statement. So if we go to build and run this to test it out to show you how it works. So just like our random number generator, we press our button and it's going to randomly generate a number. The difference with this one is that number then links to one of the cases within our switch statement. And because each of our cases displays a word within our label, it's just up to the random generator to tell us which one to display. So if I press our button and it displays blue, so that means our random number was number 5. And we press it again, and it's green, blue, red, black, green, black, green, black, yellow, yellow. Now, as we only have kind of 5 or 6 outcomes, as it always starts with 0, our options are going to repeat because there's not many outcomes compared to our random number generator when we had 100. So a few of them will repeat. That's only because we don't have as many options or outcomes to display. So there we have it then. We can display a random number generator within our applications. This is great for, let's say, if you wanted to create a password application and your users needed maybe like a password generator to generate them a random password that they could use. This is a brilliant way to do so. And you can continue to add more and more cases. Every time you add a more case, you need to make sure that you have this set up, making sure the number equals to what you have. So in the next lecture, we're going to be talking about random plist generators. Now what they are is by creating a property list, and just like how we've created our random word, we can add information to it and randomly generate a piece of information from that property list into our application.